Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 4, chapter number 2, text number 9. Shruyatam Brahmarshayo me Saha Deva Saha Ganaya Sadhunam Bhruvato Vrittam Nagnananna Cha Matsarat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. All sages, brahmanas and fire gods present, please hear me with attention, for I speak about the manners of gentle persons. I do not speak out of ignorance or envy. Purport. In speaking against Lord Shiva, Daksha tried to pacify the assembly by presenting in a very tactful way that he was going to speak about the manners of gentle persons, although naturally this might affect some unmannerly upstarts and the assembly might be unhappy because they did not want even unmannerly persons to be offended. In other words, he was in complete knowledge that he was speaking against Lord Shiva in spite of Shiva's spotless character. As far as envy is concerned, from the very beginning he was envious of Lord Shiva. Therefore, he could not distinguish his own particular envy. Although he spoke like a man in ignorance, he wanted to cover his statements by saying that he was not speaking for impudent and envious reasons. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport.
Daksha cursing Lord Shiva, rather Daksha offending Lord Shiva. It's a natural tendency of a person who is envious to say that he is not envious. It's a natural tendency of a person who is in Maya to say that he is not in Maya. And also the tendency of a person, if he is wrong, to say that I am not wrong. This is human tendency. Because we do not want to accept the shortcomings. Because everybody thinks he is perfect. Originally everybody is perfect. As spirit soul, everybody is perfect as a Supreme Lord, subserviently. And in the material world also, we continued. Perfection is there within us. As Satchidananda Vigraha, as spirit soul, we are perfect. Because part and parcel of the Lord cannot be imperfect. Om Purnamadam, Om Purnamidam. That is also Purna, this is also Purna. Anything that comes out of the Lord is Purna. And living who have come out of the Lord is also Purna, as Purna as the Lord, but in an Anu form. He is Purna as long as he is with the Purna. Just like a spark of fire is Purna as long as he is within the fire. So this quality of perfection is there and it is inbuilt, just like the quality of permanence is there in the living entities. They don't want to stop anything, they don't want to die. The quality of perfection is also there. I cannot be wrong. So the Supreme Lord is perfect and his living entities are also perfect as long as they are within him. But as soon as they choose to be not with him and to be independent, then his imperfection starts. Even though his imperfection starts, he does not want to accept his imperfection. Everybody thinks he's perfect. Forget human beings. Every animal thinks they're perfect. Every small living entity thinks is perfect. Even a fly thinks is perfect. A mosquito thinks is perfect. An ant is thinking is perfect. Doesn't matter what significant or insignificant work he does, perfection is there. And I think I am right. I cannot be wrong. So this is there, the tendency in the living entity. So this tendency of perfection comes along with many things. It comes along with pride. So pride, enviousness. So this word Matsara is very famous. Krishna uses it many times in Gita. We see this in Bhagavatam, Nirmatsaranam Satam. Dharma projita kaitavotra Nirmatsaranam Satam. Vedyam vastavam atra vastasavidam tapatrayon. That which reduces your difficulties in the material world, that which removes the all-powering force of three modes of material nature, that limiting factor in this material world. If you want to get out of that, tapatra vimochanam, if you want to be free from that, then one of the important aspects is nirmatsaraha, to be not envious of other living entities. So Daksha is powerful person. He's a Prajapati, of course. He's a progenitor. He has a very big position. But Shiva's position is much beyond him, because he is one of the three murtis. Whatever you say, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they are considered as the three, representing the three major modes of the material nature. Even though Daksha may be the father-in-law, relationships only brings in these issues. If I am not related to anybody, then there is no question of high and low. Mostly we consider equals. When there is a relationship built with somebody, then it comes. Is this relationship makes me above him, or makes me below him, or makes me equal to him? And this happens everywhere. We go any place. How many people are above me here? How many people are below me here? How many are my equals? And among the equals, where is my position? Security. People need security. Where am I? Am I safely positioned? So this comes with this insecurity concept. So enviousness comes when there is relationship, when there is personal pride, when there is personal importance. All in all, when there is self-conscious. When you are self-conscious, all these things comes. If you are not self-conscious, nothing about you will come. When we are self-conscious, then only I am self-conscious. Right? Not self-realization. There is a self-consciousness when you are self-realized. As part and parcel of Krishna. Everything is equal. Everybody is belonging to the Lord. There is no difference. There is absolute oneness. Because we are part of the whole. When there is a whole, when there is no second thing, there is only one thing. And I am part of that one thing. So I am the only one who is existing. It's part of the Lord. When the Supreme Lord is connected, everybody is connected to the Supreme Lord. I am connected to the Supreme Lord. And everything that is connected to the Supreme Lord is also connected to me. Right? So there is no difference. So self-conscious comes when there is no self-realization. And the consciousness in the material world is that I am part of this material world. And here there is the world of duality. In this world everything cannot be equal. Something has to be high, something has to be low. Something has to be hot, something has to be cold. There has to be happiness, there has to be unhappiness. There has to be fame, there has been fame. Advantages, disadvantages. It is not same in this material world. So you also gain that quality of duality in the material world, even though the living entity has anything to do with dualism. Dualism overpowers him because he identifies with these dualities. As long as he does not identify with the dualities, then dualities doesn't affect him. So Shiva is sitting there. What is Shiva thinking? Daksha does not know. Right? So Daksha is very offended. Many times happens, and it's a rule that when people come, when seniors come, one get-ups, one recognizes the position of the person. And a self-conscious person, when he is coming into the room, he is very conscious. He is seeing everybody, even though he doesn't look like he is looking at everybody, but he is looking at everybody, falls in his eyes, who is respecting me, who is not respecting me, who all stood up, who did not stand up. All this happens in our political world. My establishing myself as a superior is based on the external reactions of people around me. And those external reactions of these people affect me, even though I have nothing to do with any of these people. So this is because of self-identification. Identifying myself as what? Different. When I identify myself as different from the whole, then I stand out separately. When I stand out separately, then what is for me? What is coming for me? What is not coming for me? Becomes our conscious awareness. When I am conscious of the whole, then I don't stand there. It is a whole, only the Supreme Lord. Even though these variegated forms are there, hence Bhagavatam says, as long as one sees individuals as different bodies walking around, one will not reach the state of Brahman. State of Brahman is achieved when you see, even though many are walking around, you see only one is walking. How do you see that? So many people are walking around. So many individuals are there, but I should only see one. So Krishna tells in Gita, he who sees Atma, he who sees the Paramatma, only he sees. Others are not seeing. Others are seeing. What are they seeing? They are seeing the different bodies. And the process of self-realization is to understand the oneness in the many, unity in diversity. When there are multiples of living entities around us, how do we understand that there is only one living entity permeating over everybody? Hence Arjuna is asking many questions to Krishna, and Krishna is explaining this oneness. How do you see that oneness? How not to see the body? Because Arjuna is affected by the bodies also. How do I fight with my teachers? How do I fight with this person? How do I fight with that person? So Krishna is saying that don't see these connections. You only see the connection of the soul. So spiritual life starts when we start not seeing the differences. It is not very easy. Hence knowledge is required. When a person is affected by these things of his position, others' position, his position in relationship with others' position, these are all happens in the social situation. Because in the society there is a social order. Many times one has to follow the rules of who is superior, who is inferior. It is also a duty. If there is a superior person, then an inferior person, how does he talk? If a superior person is not there, then an inferior person may take some more responsibility and talk something more. He may not have talked if the superiors are there. These are all etiquettes to be followed. Social etiquettes are there. So Daksha is going by a social etiquette. I am father-in-law. My son-in-law should get up. And everybody is respecting me. Why he is not respecting me? So you may say, socially he is correct. One may say. But when spiritual order comes, when Shiva is a Parama Vaishnava and he is one of the three Murtis, then his position is higher. So that is blinded. That gets blinded when Daksha sees that, oh, I have given my daughter. So one gets affected. So everything in this material world happens when we identify and get affected by our surroundings. So one of the important things in spiritual life is to see how we don't get affected. It is very difficult. You get into water, you get wet. Now you are telling me, get into water, but don't get wet. How is it possible? Now that's exactly what Krishna tells Arjuna, be like a lotus leaf. It's the fact that everybody is in water. But how many of you can remain without getting wet? Without getting affected by the surroundings? That is why spiritual life becomes very difficult for many people to follow. Only those people who can understand that I am not this body and everything that is around me is an influence on me which I have acquired. I have acquired my association. I have acquired my life in this position. I have acquired my surroundings. Many of us blame everything except oneself. Because of him this happened, because of that situation this happened, because of the environment happened, because of others it happened. But everything you have chosen. So when I have chosen my position, my environment, my association, how can I blame anybody other than myself? So when we have this separated understanding, that is when we get into these details of the material world, which represents the dualities of the material world, and by your reaction we can know that we are affected by the material world or not. In spiritual life, there are exams every time, and the exams in spiritual life is not corrected by anybody. It is a self-examination. We correct our own answer paper. And you can see, am I affected or not affected? If you are affected, no, you are not come up in spiritual life. And as you grow, as you become mature in spiritual life, when you get not affected by these things, then you know, okay, there is some change. Those things which were shaking me, those things which were creating fear in me, those things which are creating anger in me, those things which are creating lust in me, is coming down. Then, so this is self-correction. Nobody need to correct our answer paper. The self-correction. Very obvious. Because as you are affected by these dualities, that much you are stuck within the dualities. And to come out of the duality takes a long time. So in spiritual life, this becomes a very important aspect. We do devotional service, 4 regulative principles, chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds, and do your devotional service. Now, where is this internal correction happening? Our system is such that by following these regulative principles and the sadhana bhakti, slowly this identification happens. Since this identification happens slowly, individually these things don't have to be told, but these have to be learned, which is also there in Shastras. Very clearly Krishna explains how to be free from this material world and the dualities of the material world. So if one is not practicing those things, then he cannot not be affected by the dualities around him. So these stories in Shastras, they are not just stories. They reveal very, very important, very, very fine, very subtle spiritual principles. That is why Bhagavatam is there. That is why Bhagavatam is Amala Purana. It shows every dirtiness, every mala, every dirtiness is shown. Here there is one dirt, here there is one dirt, here there is one dirt. That is why it is called Amala Purana. It shows every dirt and removes every dirt. And it wants us to be free from all kind of dirt. And what is the dirt? Connection with this world. It shows all the connections with this world and see how you can be disconnected with the world, because that is your Swarupa, that is your actual position. You are a disconnected person. Why are you getting connected? It is as clear as that. That is why Krishna is using strong words saying Mudha. Why will Krishna say you are a fool? Like we always say, you see a person carrying a big load. Very difficult, he is carrying a big load on his head. With a lot of struggle, he is carrying the big load. And the most important work for him to carry that load. You go and see the load, take it out and see what it is, full of garbage. You are giving so much of endeavor, putting a lot of strength, putting a lot of time, energy, and carrying this. But what are you carrying? You are carrying something which is unconnected to you. Naturally, he is called a Muda. So Krishna very strongly uses this word Mudha. Because reality is very clear, striking in a spiritual atmosphere. In a material atmosphere, this does not, they'll say, no, he should stand up. He is, after all, father-in-law. Right? But what is Shiva doing? Later on, we'll come to know. Shiva is not connected with father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, husband, wife, nothing. He is absolutely meditating on that one. When you meditate on that one, everything gets meditated on. When you respect that one, everything gets respected. When you satisfy that one, everything gets satisfied. Now, what is this technique? of not getting affected or not offending also. We should not offend. Without offending the multiple, how do I respect everybody? By respecting and by satisfying the one. So this is a huge dilemma in spiritual life, because many times following certain things becomes easy externally, but then following certain subtle aspects becomes very difficult. And that comes only by mercy. It is said that it is not enough that you have eyes, you should have the eyes and see the wrongness. And not only see the wrong, after seeing the wrong, you should be able to correct it. Some people cannot see the wrong at all. Some people can see the wrong. Some people, after seeing the wrong things, do not know how to correct it. So we are in different stages of maturity. But if a person is able to see the mistake in himself and correct it, he is a very elevated person. He is a very fortunate person rather. Why? Because by the mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas, one gets the quality of seeing the mistake in oneself. And he gets the intelligence. This is Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Krishna says, Dadami Buddhi Yoga. What Buddhi is Krishna giving? Krishna is not giving the Buddhi to launch rockets. Krishna is giving the Buddhi to correct oneself. Krishna is giving the Buddhi to disassociate oneself with that which you are not associated with. That is the Dadami Buddhi. When will Krishna give me Buddhi? What is Buddhi? Accepting the truth, that is Buddhi. Not accepting the false things, that is Mudha, that is Murkata. So this is the intelligence Krishna gives a devotee when he does sadhana, when he follows the etiquette of worshipping Guru, Krishna, serving Guru, Vaishnava. Then this is the mercy one gets. And this is the benefit of spiritual life. And this is what we should be looking for in spiritual life. Not all the external things which comes. External things goes along with your karma. Karma has already decided what you should be, how you should be, how much respect you will get, how much happiness you will get, how much wealth you will get, how much popular you will be. Why are you struggling to be popular? Why are you struggling to be respected? And that is why Trinadapi Sunichena, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in these 4 lines have given all the conclusions. Every secret. That is why Prabhupada said, I have the secret, right? It's a statement Prabhupada says, I have the secret. How to go back to Godhead. So this is a secret. How to detach oneself from our surroundings and our so-called given positions. That is why they are called upadhis. And bhakti is defined as sarva upadhi vinirmuktam. When you are removed all the upadhis, then it is called bhakti. When it is covered with upadhi, it is not called bhakti. Many times we do devotional service not in bhakti. We do devotional service with upadhis. Act, work for Krishna, work for Krishna, work for Krishna is good in the beginning. But then later on, how are we working for Krishna becomes important. In the beginning, work. Because you have to stop material work. The only way to stop material work is to hold on to Krishna's work. Krishna says, only way to purify yourself is to stop material work, stop working for yourself and start working for me. So action, work, working in this material world is a very primary thing. But gradually, that working has to mature into how are we working? Am I working for bhakti or am I working for other things unconnected to bhakti? Because by definition, bhakti is viraktihi anyatraha. Bhakti means you should get liberation from all unnecessary things. You should get renunciation from all unnecessary things. If that is not happening, what is the conclusion? I am not doing bhakti. Then what are you doing? I am doing shadow bhakti. Shadow bhakti is also very powerful. But it can only take you to the mode of goodness. It cannot take you beyond goodness. So much big services we may do. If they are not bhakti, they are just taking us to mode of goodness. Like somebody said that these are activities you do in devotional service, they are all giving you a right to get passport. You're a citizen of this country, you get a passport. If you're not a citizen, you don't get. So doing this devotional service to Krishna and these big activities, whatever we may do according to our karma, according to our ability, manas buddhi, all these things we have, we utilize it, you get a passport. With passport, can you go to Vaikuntha? With passport, you cannot go to any other country also. It qualifies you to go to another country. But to enter the country, you need what? You need a visa. By doing work for Krishna, you get passport. But based on how you did the work, you may get a visa. So you can go up to the door of Vaikuntha and knock. Door may not be open because there is a visa. So our acting in devotional service, our acting in Bhakti Yoga has to reach a point where it crosses these show bottle devotionalism, bhakti, and cross and becomes pure bhakti. And in pure bhakti, there is no dualism. There is no respect, disrespect. There is no profit, there is no loss. There is no high, there is no low. There is only one thing. What is that? Am I satisfying the Supreme Lord or not? Is the Supreme Lord satisfied by my action? Am I 100% utilizing my energy in one goal which is satisfying Him? Is that my goal or not? Because in activities, there are three things. One kind of activity is an activity of exploitation. Another kind of activity is artificial renunciation. Another kind of activity is the activity of dedication. Pure bhakti, pure devotional service falls under the category of dedication. It is free from exploitation and renunciation. All these big services we do, big results, what are they? We have to watch. Is it dedication or is it exploitation? And what is exploitation? Something for Krishna, something for me. 10 for Krishna, 2 for me. Right? 80% for Krishna, 20% for me. Every activity that we do in the name of devotional service mostly is in the exploitative realm only. We need to cross the exploitative realm and go to the realm of dedication. Only when we go to the realm of dedication that becomes bhakti. Until then it's not bhakti. It is goodness, it is highest piety, it gives a lot of material benefits. It may give sometimes even Brahma Jnana, a touch, a glimpse of Brahman. And we may think, oh, I have become pure. So we have to be a guard against these things. Or this, Rupa Goswami explains in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Bhukti Mukti. Bhukti Mukti Spruha Yavat Pishashi Hridi. In the heart, there are these two demons, two Pishash, two ghosts. Which are the ghosts? One is Bhukti, one is Mukti. Bhukti is exploitative. Mukti is renunciation, not actual renunciation, artificial renunciation. What is artificial renunciation? When I do so much, everybody is accepting me, everybody is glorifying me, everybody is clapping their hands, everybody is saying, very good, very good. One fine day when all that thing stops, nobody is recognizing me, why should I work? Nobody is telling good about it, I work. That is renunciation. I better don't work. I better don't do service. Nobody wants my service. So did we come here for somebody wanted my service? So we come here for purification, for self-purification. So whether you serve by which is accepted by people or which are rejected by people, our service is of importance because our service of satisfying Krishna, our endeavor to try to satisfy Krishna, that is the endeavor we are all doing. We do not know whether Krishna is satisfied or not. But our endeavor to satisfy Krishna is there. So when we endeavor to satisfy Krishna, whether it is glorification or it is not a glorification or even sometimes neglect, it can also happen. Completely neglected. Working for Krishna, but completely neglected. When will the day come when people will be glorifying me? When will the day come when I will be accepted as a leader? When actually we should be doing service quietly and thinking, when will the day come when Krishna will see me? Rather than that, we are looking at when will the day come when people will recognize me? When what I did is recognized. These are the activities of exploitative tendency. Exploitation means enjoying tendency. And bhakti doesn't come unless we give up this enjoying tendency. And as long as this enjoying tendency is there, we will be affected by this respect, disrespect, profit, loss, big, small, senior, junior. Because in the life of dedication, there is only one thing. Krishna is satisfied or not. So it's a two different things. Both are action. There also a lot of action is going on. In dedication also a lot of action is going on, but the quality is different. So purification can happen only when we cross or we try to cross the level of exploitation. At least year on year, our exploitative tendency should come down. Every businessman looks at every year on year, what is my profit? A devotee also will have to draw a balance sheet. Year on year, what is my profit? Year on year, my profit is as much as you give up. Year on year, how much exploitative tendency have given up? Because when there is exploitative tendency, then all the defects of the material world, all the defects of the materialism will be there. Good, bad, profit, loss, name, fame, respect, disrespect, accepted, not accepted. A devotee in the mode of dedication, he is ready even to be neglected. Aslishyava, padratam, pinastama, marmahatam, topiva. You accept me or you don't accept me. And that should be our mode. We may not be a pure devotee to think of that states, but we should at least endeavor, try to aspire to be a state. When will a day come when I can do service in 100% dedication without no percentage of exploitation? That should be the ask of the devotee. Not this facility, that facility, this is not accepted, that is not accepted. When we give a service to somebody, oh, now I got an opportunity to show off. Now I'll show how I will do this service better than others. Bhakti is not there. When you say bhakti is not there, purificatory activity is stopped there. The process of purification is not there anymore. When there is process of purification is not there, why are you wasting your time? When anyway action has to be done, when anyway activity has to be done, better I do activity in the right spirit, which is the spirit of purification. And the spirit of purification is the spirit of dedication. When there is an order, I do it. That is a spirit of dedication. If there is no order, even if I am capable, I don't do it. Basically, we are here for self-purification. But then we are also told to go out and preach and save the souls. That department is also there. So you may say, should I do self-purification or should I do others' purification? This is the biggest doubt. We should be able to do self-purification while helping others to purify. That again, if it is in the mode of dedication, we don't go wrong. If it is the mode of exploitation, we go wrong. I am here, the savior of the whole world, coming here, coming from IIT, now I know everything. I'll go out and I'll preach and convince everybody, left, right, center. See what I did. What did you do? You put yourself in more trouble. We didn't do anything. Others may go back to God, you will not go back to God. And that is waste. So preaching is there when there is an order. When there is an order, you preach. Even if you preach it as it is preaching for oneself. Because we are more careful, we are more alert when we talk to others. When we read Bhagavatam, we are not alert. But when you talk about Bhagavatam to others, you are alert. So it will be benefiting you. You will hear better when you talk to others. That is why preaching is important. When we preach to others, when we talk the subject matter to others, we are listening more. If that listening is not there, only it is giving to people and allowing them to glorify ourselves and clap hands, then they will be the greatest danger in our life, because they can drive us to hell. We should keep away from people who are glorifying us while we are preaching. When we are preaching Krishna consciousness, ours is being predominantly a preaching organization, when we preached in the material world, we had to be very careful. We had to shy away from people who are glorifying or liking our preaching. We are not going out to convince people and them to like the way we present and get convinced. People may say, when somebody's service is changed, he will say, how many souls were benefited by my preaching? All that is gone. Who are you? We are nobody to convince anybody. We are here to convince ourselves. By talking the Krishna conscious subject matter to hundreds of people, we get more and more convinced. So you see the difference between the exploitative tendency and a tendency of dedication. So as long as we are in the exploitative realm, purification doesn't happen. So that is what happens to people like Daksha. Purification does not happen. Lot of activities are done. Aru rukshu muni yogam karma karana muchyate yoga arudasya tasyeva. Krishna tells basic things, preliminary things are told in by Krishna and Gita. How to get out of this? Aru rukshu, in your beginning stage, karma karana muchyate. Your reason for liberation is work. Work becomes the means for liberation. Yoga arudasya. When you become perfect in yoga, shamak karana muchyate. Inactivity becomes a cause. What is the meaning of this? So we may do a lot of activities, because doing action is the only way for liberation. That's why Krishna is saying, better be a Rajoguna man rather than a Tamoguna man. Because in Rajoguna something will happen. Some scope for correction, some scope for elevation is available. In Tamoguna that scope is not there. But we cannot go on remaining in the Arurukshur mode. We have to come to Yoga Aruda mode. That is a stage of mature working, where one's work or not work, he is totally purified. His purification is no more dependent upon action coming out of his body. So he is a sannyasi, he is a yogi. That's why Krishna, the first verse of 6th chapter, this is what Krishna says, Anashrita karma phalam. Ashritaha means taking shelter. So don't take shelter of your own action. Don't take shelter of your own action. We are every day taking shelter of every action coming out of my body. When I take shelter of that action, then I get attached to that action. That is called karma kanda. That is called karmi, or that is called fruitive activity. So when I become not dependent upon those activities which I am performing, that state is possible only when you dedicate your action to somebody. And that is what Krishna says. Karyam karma karoti ha. Those people only act for duty. As they are obligated, they act. So obligatory activity in this material world and activity of dedication keeps us free from the dualities of the material world and keeps us concentrated on that one, the Supreme Lord alone. And that concentration keeps us free from the demands of the material world. These are all the demands of the material world. Respect, disrespect, big, small, accepted, not accepted. Sometimes a devotee who is in the mode of dedication, he may have to take a blame whole lifetime, which he never did. The whole world is blaming him for something, which he never did. What will a devotee do? Is he going to go and clarify everybody? No. If Krishna wants to have a black mark on me, so be it. Like a devotee, when I joined, a devotee told me, If for Krishna you may have to take bad name, doesn't matter. If Krishna wants a bad name in you, what can you do? Can you remove it? You cannot remove it. If the whole world is against you, when you are doing the right thing, that is why Acharyas are saying the path of spiritualist is laid with thorns and broken glasses, which will prick our feet. We have to have the guts to walk. This is the only price we have to pay in spiritual life. Why? Because you are different from them. So that way, Shiva is a person who knows this truth and who is not even looking at big and small. He is totally dedicated and concentrating on meditation, on the Supreme Lord, keeping that as his focus and not himself as a focus. And here you have a person called Daksha, for whom he is the focus and everybody else is in relation with him only. Hare Krishna, will stop here. Any questions or comments? One.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, you are telling about how we should give up the exploitative tendency and take up the mood of dedication. But there is also a verse which says like akama sarva kamova, moksha kamova. So how do we understand this verse? Because whether somebody has material desires or no material desire, but still if he engages in devotion service, he'll get purified. So how do you understand?
That is exactly what Prabhupada is doing to us. Akama sarva kamova. He knows all sarva kama is there in us. Work for Krishna. Because by working for Krishna, you will slowly give up those things. That is why akama sarva kamova, moksha kamova. Even if you have moksha kama, doesn't matter. Tivrena bhakti yogena. What is the meaning of tivra? Tivra is a word used to show extra powerful, like tivra sun. Very tivra, very, very hot, very intense. So we have to do intense bhakti yoga. Again, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that your path of devotional service will be based on your past karma. What is that verse? Tesham? No. So it will be based on your karma. If you have good karma, punya, then your path of devotional service is very simple. Tivra is not needed. A little bit of bhakti is enough. It will go on. But if your karma is so bad, you have very less punya, somehow by Sukruti, by Guru's mercy, you have fallen into Bhakti Yoga and you are dancing and acting and working here with full of kama. If Tivra Bhakti is there, the Tivra intense desire to dedicate yourself to Krishna is there. I don't know how to dedicate myself to Krishna. I do not know how to satisfy the Supreme Lord, but I have intense desire to one day do that. If this much is there, then it is good enough. It will take you. One cannot, just like it is said, you cannot get into pure chanting unless you do offensive chanting. Same way, you cannot do pure bhakti unless you do all these kama bhaktis. So, athaiva ashanta, bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami, sakala ashanta. Krishna bhakta nishkama. So only Shanti can come only to a devotee who is Krishna bhakta because he is dedicated. Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kami, all these three classes of people are all exploitative realm. They are all trying to get something for themselves. And as long as you are trying to get something for yourself, there is no Shanti. But the process is not, I will wait for a day when I am pure. There is no question of waiting. Purity comes by imperfect action. Perfection comes by imperfection. But the imperfection should lead to perfection. It is not that eternally you are on the imperfect platform. So, by going to the next level, we come to the stage of perfection. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. You had mentioned that envy, pride comes with perfection. So Prabhu, like how do we, how do we not get into this? Could you please give us your opinion?
How do we don't get into?
envy, pride.
That is a whole life. It's a lifetime task. It is not a one formula. This is another trouble we have. Get an answer for everything and try to apply that. It doesn't happen like that. Question should be asked, of course. But we should not think that now I got this secret and now I got the funda. No, there is no funda like that. It is an inch by inch progression in spiritual life. There is no question of theoretical understanding and next day onwards I can be perfect. That's never there. So by acting imperfectly, I would say, since you're asking that question, what you can say is acting imperfectly, but be ready for correction. That's a qualification. I'm acting imperfectly, but I'm ready for correction. That mood will take us forward. But acting imperfectly, thinking that I am perfect, is the most dangerous situation. So that is all you need. That will take you to perfection and freedom from envy and other things. Knowledge. When knowledge gains, when there is enough chanting done, when there is enough sukriti got, when there is enough mercy got, when there is enough knowledge you have acquired, with sufficient realization, for some pakvata, some maturity has come, then you will start seeing, okay, I am on a trip. You can identify your own mistakes. You can identify you are the real observer today. Till now I was not an observer, I was simply acting like a monkey. Today I have become a human being. I am observing what I am doing. I am seer, I am seeing what I am doing. I am no more just the person who is doing. I am also the person who is seeing what I am doing. When that step comes, when you are able to step back and see your own activity, then you can judge that with the shastras and judge that with what the devotees say. Then you can align yourself with what is right, what is wrong. That will take us to perfection. That is why they said bhakti cannot be done on your own. That is the association. Bhakti can only be done with association of devotees, because there is no parameters to check. If you are only the person on the sea, whether the boat is going forward or it's only standing, how do you know? There's no reference point, right? Unless there's a reference point, you do not know whether you're stagnant or you're moving forward. So only in association of devotees, that reference point is there. Only then you know where you are. And knowing where you are is very important, not to compete, but to achieve perfection. We'll stop here. Kandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Srila.